Hey Peyton, nice to see you again on this beautiful day. And this time with a quote by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the German poet, where he said, not in English, but this is English, we must always change, renew, rejuvenate ourselves. Otherwise, we harden. So, Peyton, despite Wolfgang being a fucking great name, what do you think
Cannot
about
argue.
ourselves renewing and rejuvenating to stay flexible?
It is hard to imagine a more badass name than Wolfgang, first of all. But great quote. This call to not rigidify, to not overly put ourselves in a box, to not stay too stuck in our rut or too stuck in our patterns or too stuck in our comfort zone is really important for us to have what I would consider a life full of life. A life full of possibility, a life full of openness, both possibility within ourselves, and of course, possibility out in the world. If we're just stuck in the same pattern, if we don't branch out and do new things, if we aren't open to seeing ourselves in a new light or seeing ourselves in an uncertain light, then we drastically limit our possibilities for ourselves. And not just the possibilities of what we can go do out in the world, the things we can go obtain out in the world, the things that we can manifest, but also the possibilities of our own way of being, of our own growth, of our own learning, of our own evolution. And there's a creative source that is within each of us. The very light of our awareness is the source of spontaneity, the source of new possibilities, the source of infinite potential. But if we put ourselves in a straitjacket and we don't allow the light to shine, but instead we cover it up under a bucket, then it can't actually shine in new ways. We can prevent it or cut it off in the ways that it's possible. And this is this Tao Te Ching quote that he who defines himself can't know who he really is. If we try to put on a persona and wear it all the time and never take it off, then we are limiting the forms that our path and limiting the forms that our light can take inside and outside of ourselves. How do you think of this, the decision points? What does it mean in practice to be open to change versus close ourselves off from change? Where does this show up? What are the key moments that we would want to be aware of and to bring in intention of openness and flexibility in the real life of our path?
Wonderful question, Peyton. Thank you very much. It is whenever the world invites us to change ourselves, is whenever the world around us changes, whenever new things happen or inflection points in our careers come, or a new relationship starts or an old one breaks. Whenever these moments of change come, it is an invitation from the world to us to also try out maybe a new way of being, try out to look upon the things in a new way. And I guess the easiest moments are also the hardest moments. Whenever something changes, it's hard for us to confront ourselves with. We have to leave our comfort zone. We have to leave the ways we always did things, the people we always been with. But this is actually as well as big an opportunity as it is a challenge to us. And this opportunity we have to seize and experiment with it. And now that we are invited outside of our comfort zone, we can also make this a seedling to sprout new life, to enhance our life, to look for new possibilities, to look for changing our environment in a way that we envision ourselves anew, or we always have envisioned ourselves, but we got stuck in our routines and our comfort zone and didn't change our environment accordingly. So whenever something big changes in our lives, it's not easy to bear, but it is a good invitation and good possibility to try to get into a new perspective, try to redefine yourselves, rejuvenate yourselves, and renew yourself. And with that, let a new light shine upon your leaves, and then maybe you grow towards the sun again. What do you think about these inflection points and how to deal with them so that we can navigate our life to be more open, more alive, and more possibilities?
Great question. I think a useful habit with this, or a useful mental internal habit, can be the admonition to begin again. This thought of being new in each moment and treating this new moment like it is truly new, and not being so attached to more and more of the old moment, wanting whatever has existed to continue and wanting to hold it in our hand because it's comforting, or it's at least it feels safe to us. In this alternative of begin again, to begin anew, to be born again, to be fresh in this moment, to recognize the actual subjective reality that we're always working with, and that phenomenologists point to a, I think, useful thing that's always right in front of us in terms of what is our experience like, when they point to this experience of being thrown into the moment. And this is something not to have as a concept in our brain, but to actually play with this, try this on, feel it. What is it like to be in this moment right now? When we really pay attention to our senses, our direct experience, reality, we can recognize that in the now, right now, when we pay attention, we're actually thrown into this moment. There's just the now. When we look and we open our eyes and we just step back from our thoughts, step back from the narrative playing in our heads, and look and listen and feel, we recognize the past is nowhere to be found. I actually can't find or put my finger on anything that led up to this moment. I'm just finding myself, whoa, I'm thrown into right here, right now. This moment is actually completely new. This moment is completely fresh. When I'm not kind of grasping onto things and trying to tell my narrative over top of it and look for this continuity that's actually artificial and manufactured in our subjective experience. It's not an aspect of what's actually intrinsically arising in our senses, but it's rather our conceptual overlay of it. We can recognize that, whoa, in each moment, this already is completely new. This already is completely untethered to the past. There is no past that is available to me right now. I'm being thrown into a moment that's completely new. There is a clearing that is inherent to that. When we, in the moment of recognizing that we're being thrown into a fresh moment with nothing in the past to hold on to, no past leading up to this to actually find, no continuity that is actually there in our direct experience, in our direct senses, there is, in the recognition of that, a clearing, an openness, a possibility, a kind of just this that is untethered and unbounded to any way that we need to embody it or react to it. And there is intrinsic in this moment a possibility when we recognize that we are thrown into a fresh new now, that we have this opportunity to begin again, wake up and be like, oh, there's a lucidity and there's a capacity to go in different directions, or to pattern break, or to wake up and see that we don't have to continue to wear this same pattern that we habituate, that we are tending to wear, that we are tending to be. And in that, there's a fear that lots of us experience. If we don't have something to hold on to, if we don't have a protective shell, a lot of times we're tempted immediately upon recognizing that we're thrown, immediately upon seeing that there is a clearing in the recognition of being thrown. The very natural self-defensive tendency is to, whoa, this is really, I feel exposed. I feel open. I feel vulnerable in my body. Like I don't feel like I have a shield in front of me. Like there's a tendency to cover it up again and to scramble to find some identity, self-image, narrative, and sort of self-concept to put over that, because there's a huge vulnerability in an openness and a recognition, or a beginning again, or the true right now experience of being born fresh and just seeing like, whoa, I'm right here. We're waking up into this now moment of our whole experience with nothing actually to hold on to, unless we fabricate this continuity that's actually born in our conceptual overlay that comes over our experience, that tends to blend in our perception with reality itself. And so this faith in what arises, this openness and receptivity to this state of having nothing to hold on to, this radical insecurity of the now moment of being thrown into a sea void of openness and this free falling of reality in the present when we truly open ourselves to this feeling of beginning again. It's scary to us, and that's why a lot of times we want to sprint back to our our old patterns, our old habits, our old ways of being, cling on to these rigid structures that we build around ourselves, or this conceptual web that we spin in front of our experience, because when it's open, then I could feel anything when it's open. Maybe I'll feel fear. Maybe I'll feel embarrassment. Maybe I'll feel discomfort. Maybe I'll fail at something. Maybe I don't know what this is. I'm not in control of the thrown moment when there's nothing over it. If this is truly spontaneous, if it's truly arising now with no strings, I have no safety in that. I have no control in that. It's a free fall. It's totally insecure. And this is where we have this inflection point or this opportunity over and over and over to lean into that, to open ourselves to this radical insecurity that we're tempted to just cover up and tempted to just cling to some shield of safety and persona and narrative and self-image or whatever and just put it over top of this so that we don't have to feel exposed like this. But if we have the courage to totally open, totally feel exposed, totally open ourselves to this moment being fresh, and there's nothing I have to hold on to, everything is new right now. There is no past to be found right now. There is no narrative to be found right now. There is no self-image. When I actually look in my experience right now, who am I? Where am I? What am I? This is radically insecure to open ourselves up to. And this, I think, is the foundation, this acceptance of insecurity, this radical opening to the things that we naturally fear, this exposedness. This is where facing that, leaning into that, is the beginning of faith that can open up broader, more infinite possibilities of what could be for us, what could be for our energy and for our internal and external world. How do you think about this real experience of the possibility versus the experience of protection and defensiveness?
The experience of possibility requires to let go of your shell, to let go of your, let's say, definition of yourself, of your self-identity. Maybe it's your ego. And that leaves you feeling vulnerable again. And then if you feel vulnerable, you naturally want to go back to protect yourself, like you said. You want to sprint to old habits. You want to sprint to comforting environments where you always been, what you always known. And this opens up ourselves, though, to a whole new array of possibilities. We could even find a new version of ourselves that was quiet all the time. Maybe it is like the childhood curiosity we always knew we still had, but we buried it in our routines, in our work-life balance definition of ourselves as being an employee of this and that, of being an entrepreneur, of defining ourselves as an engineer or some kind of role. Maybe that buried our curiosity, our childlike experience we once knew. So the possibilities open up because if you really let go of your self-definition, you are also free again. You don't lose only your self-definition, but you gain the freedom of being able to redefine yourself, to explore new ways of being, to dive into your curiosity. And maybe you find, it's always that I liked nature a lot more than I took myself time for, because I was keen on jumping ahead and making career and building out my salary and so on. Oh, maybe I loved connecting with musicians much more than I thought. Maybe you discover that. But there's also the possibility that some people come and say, I don't like you this way anymore. And they judge you. And then they maybe turn away from you. But then you can ask yourself the question, was it really worth it if it's not a fit which is real with every part that I am or that I discover anew? So you can say, let's dive in, let's lose our shell and grow out of our shell like a lobster. Or you can say, okay, I don't feel ready to grow. I'm in an environment where I'm too judged. I'm too much judged. I'm too exposed. It's evenly valid. And people who experience trauma, for example, they never get rid of their shell again because it exposes them, and then they get thrown back to their memories where they got judged and got hurt. So they naturally stuck into a shell. But if you really want to feel alive, if you really want to grow and check out the possibilities that life has in store for you, then it is, in my opinion, a necessary condition to get rid of your old shell, of your old definitions, of your old behaviors and patterns and habits, so that you can grow into a new strength, into a new height, and maybe dive into your own curiosity a little bit more. How do you think about that?
Totally agree. And I think that why is this so hard? Why is it almost ubiquitous that we want to cling to our patterns, cling to our persona, cling to our identity, cling to our story, cling to our self-narrative, cling to certain ways that we want to describe ourselves, cling to certain ways that we want to be seen, and resist certain ways that we don't want to feel, and resist certain ways that we don't want to be seen? So much of this has to do with two sides. One is what I am attached to, and one is what I am not willing to feel, or what I am not willing to experience, or what I am not willing to think. These are the two sides that entrench us and bring us back and have such a powerful magnet back to the ways that we've always been, back to the ways that we habitually respond to situations, back to the ways that we want to cover ourselves up by some web that we spin over top of our true essence, which is, in its essence, unbounded, free, and full of infinite creative potential. Why do we cover up that creative potential? It's because, on one hand, I'm not willing to give up the feeling of feeling, for example, if I want to feel smart, or if I want to feel high status, or if I want to feel competent, or if I want to feel good at this or that. These stories of our identity over here, we might be attached to it, and we're holding on to it so tight that as soon as we, wake up for just a brief second, we're scrambling to grab it back. The other part is the fear part, and this is perhaps an even stronger driver for a lot of people, or even almost all of us have both of these. So it's super powerful to have this fear of, like, I'm not willing to feel shame. I'm not willing to feel fear. I'm not willing to feel failure. I'm not willing to feel rejection. All of these aspects, if we're not open to this coming in our experience, if we don't have the faith in our own sort of bendiness that we can take any of these, if we actually have been running away from these things so long that we forget that actually we can feel them, we can experience these things, and we will survive it. We'll be fine. We'll make it out on the other side, and we'll be actually better equipped because we've gone through this. If we're not open to feeling this way, then as soon as we feel openness, a part of us recognizes, like, there's open potential. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. No. And so this is this clinging to safety that we go back to. And this is really, really powerful drives. And both of these things are natural. Both of these things are societally conditioned. There's no need for us to feel shame about all of these things, because everybody experiences this on our journey. This is a relationship that we're looking to cultivate with this. And then, if we're looking to improve our way of being, if we're looking to open ourselves more fully to the potential that we intrinsically have, if we're looking to access the experience of openness that is the foundation of open possibilities in this moment, it's not enough to have a thought about openness. It's not enough to have a concept about wanting to let go of what we're attached to, or wanting to open to our fears. Thinking and concepts are not actually the right tools of actually change here. We must open ourselves to it. We must feel these things. We must feel them in our body. We must feel them in our whole energetic system, and open to them in reality, not just in a make-believe thinking land in our brain. This has to kind of flow through the whole system. And the thing that can make that hard is there's a part of us that's genuinely trying to protect us from these things. This is not an evil part of us that's out to do wrong and trying to limit us and trying to cut us off from our light and from our possibility. This is a part of us that is scared. This is a part of us that is scared of what it can lose. This is a part of us that is scared of what can happen. And so the part that when we wake up and it's like, oh shit, I got to find the thing I always do, and I got to find a way to put my narrative over this, and I got to cover this back up. This feels unsafe. we don't want to hate that part. We don't want to fight against that part of us because, first of all, it won't work. If we fight against ourselves, it's just going to create more internal conflict, more internal division. It won't lead to traction. It won't lead to true sustainable growth in openness. It's not the right way to go about it. And I've tried. It just doesn't seem to work very well. What's better is to see this part of ourselves that's trying to protect ourselves, that is, it's closing us off, maybe it's limiting us in its habits, but it's doing so for the right reasons. It wants to help us. It wants to keep us safe. It has learned things from our past that in terms of it's learned that opening up to a certain thing exposes us to a certain type of danger that it's trying to now protect ourselves from. It's learned that in order to get some good result from this or that thing, I have to be able to always have this good feeling in hand, and so it becomes attached to this. But it's misguided, yes, but it's well intentioned. And recognizing the good intention of the protector part of us that is accidentally rigidifying us and preventing change and preventing us from opening, actually coming to a harmony with this part of ourself, welcoming it, because it is a valuable member of our team. It is a valuable part ourselves that is useful sometimes. It's not that it needs to be banished and it's the worst thing ever. It's that sometimes it's hijacking the system when it's not appropriate because it just doesn't have a clear view of the situation and it feels like it doesn't get listened to unless it totally hijacks our system. But coming to a harmony with this protector part that wants to keep us in our same patterns or whatever, then we can actually begin to work with it, flow with it, recognize when it arises, recognize when it's actually a time that it's right and we do need to fall into this or that. Maybe this is a situation where defense is needed and warranted and it's right on track, but actually coming to a harmony, a peace, and a working with it, a welcoming it to, hey, you're not the leader of the team, but you are a part of the team. Let's work together here. Let's come up with the right times when it's right to open to our full possibilities, to let go and free fall into the insecurity of pure potential. And let me listen to you when I'm under attack and it actually is time to hold up a shield, because sometimes are like that. And so that's, I think, the actual how do we make progress on this if we're not yet embodying the decisions we would want to embody. It's let's make peace within our system. Let's recognize the motives of these parts of our system. Let's listen to these parts of our system, and then let's be aware. The ultimate salve in the system is this awareness. Let's recognize this stuff, and let's recognize what kind of a situation this is. And then let's trust our body, let's trust our system to go forward in the right way when the time comes, working with what we've got with where we're at. How do you think about this awareness and just openly, is there any other aspect of this that you think is a core element?
I love how you phrased it. And how do we make progress with it? Yeah, it's make peace with it,
Yeah.
with the parts that protect you, with the parts that try to serve you in different ways with different intentions, but they are integrated into your whole being. So just make peace. Don't resist. Don't cling on a certain kind of idea to try to overrule everything you feel. Then be aware. I love that, because awareness is the key. Awareness is the key to make things transparent, which you feel. And with that, you can gain insights. And with insights, you can make the proper adaptations to express yourself the way you want to express yourself. The thing is trusting yourself in knowing what is right for you leads you to actually create a life which is right for you. If you don't trust yourself, you build up evidence against yourself and not trusting yourself, but listen to everybody else. But what does everybody else know? Nothing about you, you know? They are concerned with themselves and what everybody else is thinking about them. So it's time to trust yourself and be aware of what you feel inside yourself. And yeah, awareness is the key to make transparent what there is. Awareness, you can receive the world openly with all of your senses. If you are aware, you can receive and perceive what you feel in response to the world coming into your senses. What is characteristically expressed in your muscles? Do they tense up, or do they loosen up in whichever environment you find yourself being in right now? And then you can gain valuable insights about maybe this is not the right environment for me if I only tense up and feel that I cannot breathe properly because it's such a stressful situation. And then you learn to trust yourself because you listen to yourself, that there is a place which is not a fit, so you move the place to a better place which is a fit. And I'm not saying that any place is perfectly right for you. Things change as well, and that one place is the perfect place for everybody. No, because we are different. Everyone is different. And therefore, everybody has to find his or her own place in life, not only in life, but also in the world. And then you feel which place is right for you if you are aware of what you feel in response to what is presented to you from the world towards you. And then how do you react to it? And then is it right for you is the question. Yeah. And if it's right for you, you'll find yourself being able to let go of your old patterns. You'll find yourself opening up to your own curiosity, to your childlike you, to things which excite you so that you can learn and grow, and being open to what makes you alive. Because there's a saying which goes like this, is don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes yourself come alive. Because what the world needs is people who become alive. And with that, just lose your shell in a place where it's your place, where you fit in, where you feel that you can trust, where you feel that you are safe. And within this place, and you have to create this place for yourself, you have to build this environment for yourself, you have to design it consciously, and therefore you have to be aware step by step of what serves you well and of what doesn't. And when you build this place and design this environment for yourself, then it's much more likely and much easier to let go of your old self, of your definition. It's much easier to renew and rejuvenate, shed your shell and grow. Even if you have thin skin, then there is nothing which can hurt you because you can trust. You're in a place where you can trust, and you won't harden like that. You will be softer again, and you will allow yourself to become bigger again. And Peyton, what kind of environments do give yourself the feeling of being alive?
Great question. It does have a lot to do with the environment's effect on my energy, to be honest. And so it has a lot to do with, is there spaciousness baked into the environment in the sense of, can I move around? Do I have the time to actually walk into explore what follow threads, explore curiosities, follow where I feel called psychologically or intellectually or energetically? This, I think, for me personally, is what enables the space for life. And from that, honestly, flows so much more in terms of creativity, productivity, etc., than strictly trying to put myself in a box and whip myself like a taskmaster. And what you said about awareness really resonates. And this is the core intention that I have out of all of this coming week. Awareness is, in my opinion, the most valuable and the ultimate meta skill of them all. And yet, it is unlike the other meta skills. The meta skill of learning, you can improve at learning and then you're just better at learning. The meta skill of habit manipulation, you can really gain traction and momentum, and it's just way easier after you do it for a year and you just kind of have the skill in your hand. And same with energy management to a lesser extent. You really can learn these principles, put them in practice, build the tools, cultivate the environment, and then you have much more tailwinds than headwinds. And once again, many of your gains there are for keeps. But awareness, the most valuable of all of these meta skills, eludes our grasp entirely. This is something that we only have to the extent that we give ourselves to it. We cannot hold awareness in our hands. We cannot cling to awareness. We cannot earn awareness. We cannot store up awareness. We cannot gather more awareness so that we have more tomorrow. This is something that we must continually give ourselves to, must continually open ourselves to, must continually practice, continually trust, accepting that this is the fruit and foundation of the guidance system, the inner GPS of our life. And this is something that we must come back to over and over and over. When we stray, we need to recalibrate and bring ourselves back into balance, etc. And it's hard because it's only a single player game with awareness. Nobody can do it for us. We have no scoreboard. If we don't actually practice it and we fall away from it, really, it's something that we can hide from ourselves and from others. And so it's very easy to fall off of our balance and to look for more short-term expedient things. And in reflection, I've been doing some of that in my own life this past week, just constantly shoving more and more information, constantly distracting with this or that, constantly looking for the next thing, sprinting to the next thing, feeling like this continual rushingness where there's no time to be present with my own experience has been an aspect or a partial habit in my life this past week and in recent weeks. And so recognizing this as the foundation for what can enable me to have a greater degree of freedom and openness and possibility, as well as the GPS system of my whole life and my whole path. This is what I'm really feeling called to cultivate in my own life this coming week. Really put the priority first, even when it feels like I don't have time. The saying that, like, if I have 10 minutes to meditate, I'll meditate 10 minutes. If it feels like I have no time to meditate, I'll meditate for 20 minutes. And and not that it's just about time sitting on a cushion, but it is about the sort of what we are serving, what we are prizing. And so that's the core recalibration I'm getting out of this. Once again, awareness is upstream of so many of our capacities. Awareness is the rudder or the steering wheel that can guide us toward our best self or guide us toward our most blind self, or the lack of it will steer us toward our most blind self. I'm really going to be focusing and honoring that route during the week ahead. What about you, man? What are your intentions out of the conversation?
Mm, a wonderful intention you have there. And my intention is also similar. Like if I have time, I'll do 10, 12 minutes. If I have no time, 20. But I got time. I got much time here. The other thing is to shed the identity and habits and make it simple. Putting down what I want to do the next day and the day before. None of this. Having a routine where I can say, okay, I read a few pages in the morning. I write something down in the morning when I'm fresh. I'll hit the most important task right in the morning when I'm going in front of my computer or just write something down. So it is actually using the possibility of change because I'm switching rooms to design my environment so that it serves the much simpler but much more effective version that I want to serve myself. This is
Great
my intention.
opportunity. Great
Yeah.
opportunity. Awesome, man. Well, I love this conversation. This was really cool ground for us to cover. I enjoyed it immensely and really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and looking forward to talking to you in the next one, my friend.
Likewise, my friend. Looking forward to see you soon, man. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a good week.